Hey everyone, today I have for you the Eevee Box deck for this Meta Monday. Now this is an incredibly fun and high skill deck that if you play it correctly can definitely win into most matchups. This deck is all about the evolutions, but we're going to start off by talking about the Eevees that we run first. So we run the Tera Eevee because it's a Tera Pokemon and 200 HP. We run one copy of the Colorful Friends Eevee to be able to search out 3 Pokemon of different types. And then we also are running the boosted evolution Eevee in case we need to go into a evolution right away. As for our evolutions, we're running 2 copies of Flareon EX, which has Burning Charge, and that's the whole centerpiece of our engine with this deck, because it deals 130 damage and then puts 2 basic energy from our deck onto one of our other Pokemon. So we can easily charge up one of our other attackers and be able to go just one attack after another. It also has Carnelian, which comes up every now and again to do 280 damage. And then our other evolution that we're running is Leafeon EX, which has Verdant Storm, which does 60 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. But more importantly, it has Mossa Gate, which does 230 damage and heals 100 damage from each of your benched Pokemon. Now then, most other Eevee decks are usually running like Sylveon EX for its Angelite ability, but we don't really need that with our deck. Instead, we're running Lillie's Clefairy to be able to deal with the Dragon-type Pokemon like Dragapult and Raging Bolt instead. You also sometimes see the Umbreon EX coming up for its Onyx attack, being able to discard all energy and take an extra prize, but we don't really need to see that either, so that's the reason why we're not running those. Our other attackers in the deck is Terapagos EX. With its Unified Beatdown, we're able to do a large amount of damage, and it only costs 2 energy, so it synergizes with our Flareon EX. And then we're also running Wellspring Ogerpon, which has Torrential Pump, which does 100 damage to the active, and then we can shuffle 3 energy from it and deal 120 damage to one of our opponent's benched Pokemon as well. So it's easy to take 2 prize cards right away with this Wellspring Ogerpon, and it also synergizes pretty well with the Flareon because we're able to throw 2 energy on right away, so we only need 1 more energy. The other notable card to make this deck work is Noctowl, which has Jewel Seeker. So when you evolve this over a Hoothoot, then if you have a Tera Pokemon, you can search your deck for 2 trainers. So that's how this entire deck functions, is trying to chain together Noctowls to search out your powerful trainers that you need to be able to get these fast attacks and start dealing damage right away. As for the trainers in question, the most notable trainers here is Turo's Scenario to help prevent your opponent from taking extra prize cards, Serrano to search out 3 Pokemon EX all at once. We're running 3 copies of Crispin because that's your main way of getting a attacker started right away. And then our ace spec is Sparkling Crystal, being able to give whatever Tera Pokemon it's attached to have 1 less energy cost overall. Allows us to be able to do a Crispin into Sparkling Crystal and immediately do any 3 energy attack that our evolutions could be needing. Along with that, our energy breakdown is 1 grass energy and then 2 copies of Fire, Psychic, Water, and Lightning. We don't need to play 2 copies of the grass because we are running Sparkling Crystal and we're only running 1 copy of Leafeon, so there's no reason to run 2 copies of a grass. Overall, the deck performed outstanding. I had a lot of fun playing it, and I definitely recommend people to give it a try. I will have 3 games for you guys as usual. And before we get to the games, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. It truly helps me a lot, and I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. So without further ado, we'll get on to game number 1. Alright, so game number 1, we're up against Miraidon. So it looks like since they're running the Tynamo, it's most likely the electric generator version. So here we do start off real nice. We do have the Fan Rotom with double Hoothoot, and we were able to get down a Eevee. And then here for the nest ball, I'm just looking to see exactly what we still have, but I'm just going to grab the Terapagos. I wanted to grab the Latias, but we need to have a Terra Pokemon in order to be able to use these Noctowls next turn, and generally you only want to use one Noctowl at a time. So here they start off with a nest ball, they get down in Iron Hands, and then they're going to use the Tandem unit. They get down the Iono's Wattrel and the Zekrom. So the only things that we really have to worry about in this matchup is if they get a fast Iron Hands, then they can start getting rid of our Noctowls for double prize. So we need to worry about that real fast, and then we also have to worry about that Zekrom because it can one-shot things, especially after we take, like, I think they need a total of 3 prizes for us taken to be able to one-shot a Eeveelution. So here, I just use the Noctowl, I get the Terra Orb, and then I get the Crispin. This allows me to be able to get 2 energy. I'm going to get the Fire and the Psychic. That way I can attach the Psychic. I still have the Sparkling Crystal, which I'm going to use on the Eevee as well. That way then I can actually start swinging this turn, start dealing some damage. I'm going to put the other Psychic, and it seems like I got 2 water. I only have 1 of everything else, so I'm just going to put those 2 on the Terapagos so I have another attacker set up and ready. Alright, so now it's their turn. The things that we really have to worry about is how many electric generators do they get. They do have the Kilowattrel. So that's actually a really cool tech that I saw in this game, and I think if I were to give the Miraidon list another try, I would probably run like a 1-1 of it as well. It has the ability of being able to discard a electric energy that's attached to it to draw up to 6 cards. So it's really cool working with the electric to be able to constantly be able to draw back up to 6. So here they did use a electric generator. They only hit a single energy again, and then they manually attach to their Miraidon in the active. And now I have some thinking to do, because I could use this Noctowl and be able to get another energy going and get another Eevee going, so that way then I can get more attacks. I also could just do regular attacks as well, just do the 130. So here I did the Buddy Buddy Poffin. I just want to look and see exactly what's in my deck. And then I actually just bench down the Wellspring. And then I'm just going to use the Noctowl here. The reasoning for this is I'm just going to use this boss this turn, and then I also have the Stretcher. So I'm going to Stretcher back the Psychic, be able to attach that for turn, boss up their Zeraora so I can get rid of that so they can't one-shot the Wellspring in the back. And that's going to allow us, so next turn we'll actually be able to do a decent bit of damage to whatever they throw up and be able to knock out the Kilowattrel. It also softens whatever I do hit with the 100 damage, so I can actually get a knockout on it on the following turn as well with the Flareon or with the Terapagos. So here they just manually attach again, and then I'm just going to use the switch here, and that's going to allow me to be able to do the Torrential Pump. I'm going to knock out the Kilowattrel. Notably, their Miraidon is now down to only 120 HP, so that's within range of Flareon being able to knock it out. Alright, so here they play the Electric, which now they'll be able to start putting electric energy from their discard once per turn onto their Zekrom. They currently have no electric energy in the grave, but they do now have 3 on their Miraidon that will be getting knocked out on my turn, but they will be taking their first 2 prizes of the game by knocking out the Wellspring. But here, we're just going to throw the Flareon up. We will throw down the Hoothoot that we drew, and that means that this Ultra Ball will be able to find whatever we need next turn. We're also not going to take out any energy just in case we need it for later on. And then we're down to only needing 1 prize card left, so that Hoothoot will be able to find a Noctowl to get us our final boss, so we can actually boss up like the Electric and knock it out with Terapagos next turn if need be. So here, they're just playing another generator. They did get some energy on it, and they actually get 2 energy, so now they can use their Electric. They're going to be able to put the final energy that they need onto the Zekrom, be able to retreat into it and get a knockout, which is huge for them. So now, since that's all their game plan, they didn't hit us with a Iono or anything, we're going to be able to just use this Ultra Ball next turn, get rid of the Buddy Buddy Poffin plus the Fez, or Buddy Buddy Poffin plus a Iono, and be able to get a Noctowl. And that's going to allow us to get the bosses. And it doesn't really matter what else we get here. We just grab a Nest Ball. We could have grabbed the Area 0 Underdepths, and there's a chance that we'd have enough damage to be able to knock out the Zekrom as well, so we wouldn't even need the boss. Alright, so for game number 2, it's actually a mirror match. So we open up okay, but our hand is looking pretty bad. So our hand, it's decent enough that there's a chance that we can do things, but the fact that we don't have a way to get to Fan Rotom and to get to whatever attacker we really need kinda does put something like bad for us. So we do find a Clefairy though. So here we're just gonna use the Serrano, and then we're gonna get the Lapras, we're gonna get the Eevee, the Terra one. I'm just thinking I could also grab a Flareon, so I am gonna grab a Flareon here. I was thinking about the Mew as well. So here, I'm just going to throw those down. I am going to Ultra Ball away the Clefairy and the Turos. It was a very tough decision, because I could have gotten rid of the Sparkling Crystal, but I know that in this matchup, that's very important. And then here, I get the Fan Rotom. I'm able to use that to be able to get a Noctowl, but this is a major misplay that I made. I shouldn't have gotten double Noctowl. Or I should have gotten double Noctowl, but instead of the Hoothoot, I should have gotten the Colorful Friends Eevee, because in this matchup with the mirror match, if I only have one Eevee, then it's very prone to just getting bossed, and they can just knock it out if they get the right combination of stuff. And the fact that they have 2 Hoothoots on the field mean that they're going to easily be able to get the boss and be able to get enough energy down to be able to get that knockout as well. So here, they do play out the Noctowl first, and we're going to see if they notice that, because it is a little bit more of a complex play. They're not going to be using Crispin, so what they're most likely going to do, yep, they grab the Sparkling Crystal plus the Area 0 Underdepths. So it looks like they do know the play. I realized way too late about it. And then here they play the Underdepths. They play out a Lillie's Clefairy of their own. They play a second Noctowl. And this is going to allow them to get the boss plus a nest ball. So they can get the Terapagos. And then all they need is just a energy of any kind. So here they're just looking through their deck. They're trying to make sure that they got everything that they need. They're going over the play, so they do get the nest ball, and they get a Crispin. So they most likely have the boss in hand. They do get the Terapagos down. They do put it into active. They attach the Sparkling Crystal, they attach an energy, and they have the boss. So they do boss up our Eevee. And now they're going to be able to knock it out. So importantly, that means that we have no Terra Pokemon for our Noctowls, and we have no access to a Terra Pokemon in our hand. So we're just going to scoop it up. Alright, so game number 3, we see a Blood Moon Ursaluna. We open up decent. We have the MEW EX with a Fan Rotom, which means that we're going to be able to get double Hoothoot plus a Noctowl. And then we have a Eevee in our hand as well, so we're just going to throw that one down. And then we will retreat into that Eevee. It is the boosted evolutions, so we're going to be able to get a Flareon EX down this turn, so we keep everything safe. And that way then we have a Terra Pokemon as well. We're going to keep a hold of that nest ball, because depending on what the matchup is, we could use it to be able to get a Fez down, or we could use it to get down a Lillie's Clefairy next turn as well. It just depends on what the matchup is, so we don't really want to clog up that final spot until we know what we're playing against. So here we see right there a Howlucha, and then they get a Badoo. So they have the Latias, and they're just going to Badoo lock us real quick with the Itchy Pollen attack. We do draw into a Crispin, so that's huge. And now I'm just going to play the Crispin. I'm just looking at my energy, so I'm just going to get a Fire and a Water. Looking through my deck, seeing exactly what all got prized, what all didn't. So I do have a Turos still in there. I do have the Sparkling Crystal. So now we will be able to Burning Charge. And I'm actually going to throw some energy onto this MEW EX. Because since they discarded the Howlucha, I'm pretty sure that this is just the Dragapult list. And if I'm correct, I want to be able to have a extra attacker and have that up and running. So that's the reason why I put energy on the MEW EX. It is very susceptible to just getting knocked out, but at the same time, if I can get the swing first, then that allows me to do a 1-2 punch with like a Flareon afterwards to get the knockout. So here we do see a Fez come down. We also saw that they put down a Dreepy. They manually attach, and then they use the Night Stretcher to get back the Badoo. They play it down so they can retreat into it and item lock us once again. They also play a Counter Catcher, so they're bringing up one of the Hoothoots. Alright, so we will be going into a Noctowl here. So we're going to grab the Serrano, and then we're also just going to grab the Sparkling Crystal. So I'm just making sure that the Latias is in our deck, the Terapagos is in the deck, so we're actually just going to grab the Underdepths instead of the Crystal. We're going to play down the Underdepths. We're then going to Serrano. We're going to be able to get the Latias plus a Terapagos. And I'm thinking about grabbing the Fez here. I could also grab the Wellspring, be able to start getting that built up. There is a world where I can actually knock out 2 Pokemon at once. So I do decide on the Wellspring. So here we are just going to start benching some stuff, and then I'm going to retreat. I'm going to put down this Wellspring as well. And now I will be able to hit, and then I'm going to throw down the water and the other fire onto the Wellspring. Take our prize. We get a energy off the top of our prizes, which is huge. So if they try to lock the Noctowl that we have on the field up into the active, since it's a stage 1, not a basic, our Latias can't give it free retreat. We can at least use this lightning air energy to be able to do the retreat. So here they do use a counter catcher. They're doing exactly that play. So they're still just trying to get some time to be able to do everything that they need. So they do find another Badoo off of that Ultra Ball, and then they play out the Jamming Tower to force us to remove some of the cards on our bench. So we will be getting rid of the Fan Rotom and the Terapagos. And then here they play a Research as their supporter for turn. They do manually attach to the Tricloak, and then they Itchy Pollen. But since we set up this Wellspring, we actually have the perfect hand. We're going to have to use this other Noctowl real quick, and we're going to be getting a Crispin, and we can grab whatever else we want. We may just grab the Gravity Mountain or grab a second Crispin as well. We also could just grab the Turos. So I do decide to just grab the Turo. And here I'm thinking about which one I want to use, but I decide, you know what? Let's use the Crispin real quick. We will attach from Crispin to the Noctowl, be able to retreat into the Wellspring. And then here, this is kind of a mistake. I should have attached this Psychic, not the Electric. That way then, next turn, if need be, I could actually swing for 280 damage with the Flareon. We did get 2 prizes though. So here they get down another Dreepy, and they're just trying to set up another Dreepy right here, and then they hit us with the Iono, so we got a Iono of our own. Luckily, we have the MEW EX down, so we're not as messed up by Iono right now for this game, but Iono still hurts very, very badly. So here they're just thinking about their play, and I'm also thinking about how am I going to win the game right now. So my big worry is exactly that. So they play another Night Stretcher, get the Badoo again. I've spent this entire game pretty much under Badoo lock, which is crazy. But it also goes to show you that if you play this deck and you play it a lot, you can actually get wins through Badoo locks. So here they also use another counter catcher, bringing up a Noctowl, and then they go into the Badoo. So now we're not only Badoo locked, but now we have to find an energy. So we have to find a Crispin. So we hit him with a Iono, we get 2 useless cards, and we get a pause, which could be useful later on if this Noctowl gets knocked out. So here they're still just looking through stuff. Sparkling Crystal we can't really use right now either, due to the fact that jamming Tower's on the field. They do get into a Dragapult finally. They attach the second energy, so they will be able to start hitting with Dragapult if they want. But they decide to Itchy Pollen for one more turn. So we top deck a Night Stretcher and we just pass. So here they're trying to get their other Dragapult set up, which it's currently a Dracloak. And currently their Blood Moon requires 1 energy to be able to swing and be able to do enough damage. So that's something very notable. They hit us with another Iono. They've had every disruption that they could possibly want this entire game. It almost feels like we're playing against Gardevoir, to be honest. And here, they will be knocking out that Noctowl, and they actually split their damage in a very weird way that they shouldn't have. So, because we did get another Night Stretcher, and then here, off the top, we actually got Crispin. So that actually submits our play into what we need to do. So we're going to put down the Fez. This will allow us to draw 3. And then here we will be using the Crispin. So I'm just reading the Badoo real quick. I'm debating if I want to get rid of the... I know that I want to get rid of the Badoo, but I don't know if I want to get rid of it right now. So here I am just going to use the Crispin. This allows me to put 3 energy in total on both my Mew EX and active and the Flareon to have the right energy that it needs. And then we will be knocking out the Badoo, and then we're going to be throwing some damage down on their Blood Moon Ursaluna, but notably their Dragapult is now down to 120 HP. So if they want to retreat into the Ursaluna and get a knockout, the Ursaluna is low enough that there's a way that I could still win because I have the 280 damage attack from Flareon. And if they get a knockout with the Dragapult, I still have the Flareon attack. So I have them in multiple ways right now that there's no way that they can actually win. So the writing is definitely on the wall. So here they're still just trying to search for an answer to get around all of this. But no matter what they do, it's pretty much game over. Yep, and there they go, they conceded. Well, those are all the games that I have for you guys today, and I highly recommend that you guys give this deck a try. It definitely taught me a thing or two that I didn't know because of how difficult it was to play. And as always, please leave a like and hit that subscribe. I am still a new content creator, still learning a lot, and I hope that you guys are gonna go with me on this journey. I do post every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.